This is a doom-song eventuality rod. 3 Tier 1 physical prefixes, plus 1 to maximum endurance charges, and an implicit that hands you another endurance charge and a power charge on top. It cost about 93 divine to build. It sold in 2 hours for 399. Here is every single step. Here's what this covers. Picking the base, alt spamming your prefixes, 4 recombinator steps, and the Shaper Exalt gamble at the end. What it does not cover is recombinator fundamentals. If you don't already know how prefix and suffix counts carry across, pause and go read those rules. This guide assumes you have them. Start with the base, and get this wrong and everything after it is wasted. You want an eventuality rod? Item level 83 or higher. That is all you need for every tier 1 on this list. The implicit plus 1 to maximum power and endurance charges comes on the base itself. You're not corrupting for it. If you buy a rod without that implicit, you will run this entire craft and finish with a weapon worth a fraction of what you paid. Check the implicit before you click buy. Now the materials, 3 piles of bases. Tier 1 flat physical, Tier 1 increased physical, and Tier 1 hybrid physical with accuracy. 6 of each, plus 1 veiled hybrid crit suffix. Tributes and crit chance in a single mod. Just 1. Done correctly, that suffix survives every recombination in this guide, so you will never need a second one. The costs. A raw base is 40 to 50 chaos. Alt spamming to Tier 1 flat fizz is cheap. The weight is high. Call it 40 chaos. Increased fizz and the hybrid are the painful ones. Roughly 1,000 alterations and 1,000 augments each. About 180 chaos a piece. 18 rods, fully prepped, 3,200 chaos, about 16 divine. And before that number scares you off, you will not spend all of it. I'll show you the real bill at the end. Step 0 is just alterations. Spam until the prefix shows up. Augment if it rolled alone. Repeat. There is nothing clever here, only volume. What matters is what comes out. Merciless. 170 to 179% increased physical. Dictator, 75 to 79% with accuracy attached. Flaring adds 34 to 47, 72 to 84. And one rule above all of them. Every rod leaves this step with exactly 1 prefix and nothing on the suffix side. A stray suffix wrecks the recombination later, and you won't notice until it has already caused you. Step 1. Clean flat fizz rod, plus your veiled hybrid crit rod into the recombinator. 2 rules apply here and to every recombination after it. The suffix side has to be clean, and one of the 2 items has to be carrying one of the god blessings. Any version of it, they all do the same job. Here, that's the NNN rule from 3.29. I'm not reteaching it. If an outcome ever looks wrong, that's the first thing to check. What you're fishing for is 1 prefix, 1 suffix, the flat fizz, and the crit suffix riding along with it. That's base A. And that crit suffix is now the thing you protect for the rest of this video. Step 2. Base A plus a clean single prefix rod, increased fizz or the hybrid. Either one. Same rules. Clean suffixes, 1 blessing, nothing else on that side. Out comes base B, 2 physical prefixes, crit suffix still attached. Remember which of the 2 you used, because step 3 has to produce the other one. Step 3 is bookkeeping. Whatever base B ended up with, base C needs the missing prefix. 2 prefixes, 0 suffixes. Easiest way. Recombine first without caring what lands on the suffix side. Then bench. Prefixes cannot be changed, and scour the suffixes clean off. 2 prefixes, nothing else. That's base C, and get comfortable, because you're going to be making several of these. Step 4. Base B plus base C. Going for 3 prefixes and 1 suffix. That's base D, and this is the wall. Read this before you click. It's a 33% shot. 2 out of 3 times, you get nothing. But a failure does not brick you. You drop back to a base B. What you lose is base C. Every Every miss costs you 2 fully prepped rods, about 450 chaos, a bit over 2 divine, not the craft. Here's the math, because it decides how much you buy. 33% per attempt, median, 2 tries, average, 3. And 10% of you are still sitting here on attempt 6. 6 attempts means 6 base Cs, 6 increased fizz rods, and 6 hybrids. That is exactly the 6 of each from step 0. That number isn't a vibe. It's the 90th percentile. Mine took 3 attempts, 2 misses, then it landed. Dead on the average, which almost never happens. And this is your first real bailout point. If you're out of base Cs and out of currency, stop here. A 2 prekix rod with that crit suffix still sells. Chasing this one broke is how people end a league with nothing. Step 5. Base D in hand. 3 prefixes, 1 suffix, 2 suffix slots open. Before you touch an Exalt craft, cannot roll attack modifiers onto it. Every time. This is the single most important click in the guide, and it does 2 jobs. 1. It stops the Exalt from handing you a junk attack mod. 2. And this is the part people miss. Everything you care about on this weapon is attack tag. All 3 physical prefixes, the hybrid crit suffix, with that craft sitting there, none of them can be annulled. It turns step 6 from a coin flip on your entire weapon into a controlled removal. Now, go to the boat and slam a Shaper Exalt. You only ever use 1. It puts Shaper influence on the weapon, and about 1 time in 6, it drops +1 to maximum endurance. Charge right there. If that happens, you got genuinely lucky. Bench the damage per endurance charge and go celebrate. The other 5 times out of 6, it hands you something useless, and that is where the real price of this weapon starts. Step 6. The Exalt gave you a shitter mod and you are still here. This is the step that actually costs money, so read the numbers before you commit. The good news first, the weapon is Shaper influenced now. You never buy a second Shaper Exalt. From here, a plain Exalted orb can hit the influence pool, and a plain Exalt is 2 chaos. The loop is, annul the junk, recraft cannot roll attack, slam another Exalt. The orb can only reach 2 suffixes, the craft or the junk, so budget 2 annuls per cycle. Now, the bad news, and this is the number that decides whether you attempt this weapon at all. Plus, 1 to maximum endurance charge is roughly 1 in 66 per Exalt. Median, 46 attempts, average, 66. 10% of you will still be slamming at 150, and the cost is not the Exalt. The Exalt is 2 chaos. The annuls are 9 chaos each. It is the benchcraft. 1 divine every single cycle. That is 1.1 divine per attempt, and the craft is 91% of it. Median, 50 divine. Average, 73. 90% of you finish inside 166. Mine took about 70 cycles, 70 Exalts, 140 annuls, 70 bench crafts. Worse than the median, better than the average. That is what 1 in 66 looks like, while it is happening to you. This is the real bailout point, not step 4. Step 4 costs you 2 rods a miss. This costs you a divine a miss forever, with no pity timer. If 70 divine is not money you can lose, stop at the 3 prekix weapon. It is already better than anything you will buy. Plus 1 to maximum endurance charge, that's the weapon. Clean off the cannot roll attack craft. Bench 6% increased damage per endurance charge in its place. Take it to 20 quality and finish with the runecraft. Enchant, 8% increased explicit physical modifier magnitudes. 0 risk on that one. Just apply it. There it is. 512 to 1050 physical damage. Merciless at 179%, 1 point off the maximum roll. Plus 1 to maximum endurance charge on the suffix. 1 more and a power charge from the implicit. And the runecraft at the end is not cosmetic. 8% explicit physical magnitudes took it from 254% increased physical to 274. The bill, 18 prepped rods is 16 divine, but treat that as a float. Whatever you don't consume goes back on the market. Step 6 is what actually spends. 1 shaper Exalt at 100 chaos, 70 plain Exalts at 2, 140 annuls at 9, and 70 benchcrafts at 1 divine each, 77 divine, and 70 of that is the 1 craft, worst case. If you burned all 18 rods, 93 divine, it sold for 399, listed for 2 hours. That is a 300 divine margin. But I want to be straight with you about the one number I can't promise. That is 1 sale, in 1 league, in a market that wanted it. The cost side is arithmetic, the sale price is not. Cheaper version. Drop the Veiled Hybrid crit for a plain tier 1 crit chance. You lose the attributes, but it's still attack tagged. So the protection in step 5 still works, except tier 2 on 1 prefix. And if the Exalt loop rips you, a 3 prekicks rod with no endurance charge is still a bigger upgrade than anything you'd buy at this budget. Full step list on screen. Screenshot it. Numbers, costs, and the whole flowchart are linked in the description. And tell me what to craft next. Helmet, gloves, body armor, or amulet. Vote in the poll, or just leave a comment. Good luck with the 1 in 66.